Hello my Luminites, it is Ivy and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, hello, my name is Ivy, also known as Intuitive IVM, here on this channel as well as on my Instagram, where you can check out for daily witchy tips and tarot tips and tricks and stuff about the paranormal and everything like that over on my Instagram and also my paranormal and occult TikTok. I'm the co-founder of an amazing spiritual business company where you can check us out at unearthlytreasures.com and a podcast host of the Woo Podcast, where I talk about basically the same sort of stuff that I talk about here. Actually, the subject that I'm going to be talking to you guys about today, I have a full-on podcast episode dedicated to the subject. So if you guys want to hear me ranting in even more detail about this, then check out my podcast, the Woo Woo Podcast, over on Spotify. I will post the link down below. Hey you guys! Welcome! If you are new here, my name is Ivy, also known as Intuitive IVM. This channel is all about the magical, the mystical, and the supernatural / paranormal. So if you are into one or all three, four-ish of those things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on that notification bell to be notified when I post. I post twice a week. So today we are going to be talking about the mysterious island of Nan Madol. Alright, so let's get into what is Nan Madol. So Nan Madol is actually an ancient prehistoric city that has baffled scientists for not thousands, they just recently found it, for a while. It's in a remote region of the Pacific Ocean, and it's basically the ruins of this ancient city. So Nan Madol is a city composed of 99 islands. Yeah, 99 islands. And these islands are, get this, man-made. So this island was an island that supposedly people lived on for thousands of years, at least 1,000 years. And the way that it was made, first of all, it was built on a coral reef. And it was made out of these big stone buildings that weighed anywhere between 2 to 20 tons. So that's some heavy bricks built on top of a coral reef. Plus they made 99 of these islands that had no food or water. So how did these people manage to live on this island for almost 1,000 years? Like, that's what's got scientists absolutely driven crazy, because they just can't explain why. So Nan Madol has also been called Atlantis, or also the 8th wonder of the world. And I mean, with how it was made, nobody seems to be able to know how. I mean, you gotta admit, I wouldn't be surprised if it is the 8th wonder of the world. Nobody knows what happened, how these things were made, and the thing is that the local people, the Pompeians, they don't even like to talk about how this island was made, because supposedly, if you were able to piece together how Nan Madol was made, and you knew the entire history, supposedly you would have served every purpose and you'd have no reason to live. So literally the locals wouldn't talk about it for a very, very long time, up until recently, where people started to piece together how this island was made. And supposedly there was 2 twin sorcerers, and their names were, I could be butchering this, Alispa and Alashopa. They were the ones that created Nan Madol by using what some people believe as black magic. Supposedly these twin sorcerers were giants, between 7 to 10 feet tall, and they were accompanied and getting help by the work of a dragon. There was a dragon that was helping them construct these buildings and construct these islands. And this was a flying dragon that helped assist these sorcerers. So supposedly there were these Japanese pearl divers that stumbled upon these very large human bones over by Nan Madol. And we have to keep in mind the fact that there was a flying dragon. Let's get into some conspiracy theories about this island. So obviously there's the whole conspiracy about not being able to piece it together. There's also the conspiracy theory of the whole flying dragon. The reason why I keep air quoting that is because if you guys have watched Ancient Aliens, on a lot of episodes, people will say flying objects or flying structure, or some people would call it even dragons, almost flying dragons, but it could honestly have just been a flying UFO that people didn't know what to call, so they called them dragons. So some people believe that these twin sorcerers, who were 7 to 10 feet tall, could have been extraterrestrials themselves. And not only that, but could have been assisted by UFOs. Not to mention, there was some talk about Nan Madol having to do something with the Pleiades, so they could have even been assisted by the Pleadians for all we know. Another theory of how this island was made was basically what these stones, what this island was made out of. It was made out of these stones called basaltic rock. Some people think that this basaltic rock was connected to the god of thunder, who the sorcerer twins had dealings with, and thus he assisted them in levitating these objects and making these islands. So another conspiracy theory is the Nan Madol curse. Yes, a curse! A friggin' curse! So in the earliest 20th century, Germans governed the island when Governor Victor Berg dared to disregard the ban that was on this island. He entered the sealed tomb of the island after being told so many times not to go in there. He still entered the sealed tomb of the island and opened the coffin to the ancient island rulers. In it, he supposedly found the skeletal remains of 2 giants, and they supposedly measured between 2 to 3 meters tall. That night, supposedly, the island came alive with all this supernatural activity. A wild storm just suddenly came about with lightning and flashes in the sky. A whole bunch of rain just came pouring down, and it landed on the island, of course, where Governor Victor Berg was. The next morning, on April 30th, 1907, Governor Berg died. The German physician that was occupying the island basically couldn't determine why he died. Like, there was no determination for his death. There was no cause of it. He just absolutely was baffled by how the governor just suddenly died. But the natives were sure that the cause of his death was because he opened the sealed tomb of the rulers, and that he had to be cursed, and that's what led to his death. Today, people are saying he died as a result of a sunstroke and heat exhaustion while he was going around exploring the ruins. Okay, so there is a theory going around about why Nan Madol came to exist. So why people decided to occupy Nan Madol in the first place. Nan Madol sits about halfway between the Hawaiian Islands and the Philippines. And severe storms and typhoons happen to start where Nan Madol is. Obviously, this happens when cold air comes in contact with the warm waters of the Caroline Islands. So research shows that, these storms begin at the Nan Madol location. So maybe this isn't a coincidence. People think that because the storms start here, people try to occupy Nan Madol as a way of trying to stay away from the storms. Officially, scientists have just not been able to explain how this island was made. The closest that they have come is that these blocks were somehow transported on bamboo rafts. Yet there's no such archaeological evidence stating that such bamboo or wooden rafts were created. And when modern experiments try to replicate this by moving these stone columns, the rafts have failed at just holding 1 to 2 tons. Keep in mind, some of these stones are between 25 to 50 tons. So if these rafts that supposedly made this structure are sinking at 1 to 2 tons, how could it possibly have handled something way more? What do you guys think about Nan Madol? Do you think that this island was created by giants, by UFOs, extraterrestrials, sorcerers with black magic? or devotees of an ancient thunder god. Would you guys ever travel to Nan Madol? Because yes, the island is open, you can travel to it. Let me know down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Again, if you guys want to hear an even more detailed version of this whole Nan Madol island mystery conspiracy, check out my podcast at the Woo Woo Podcast. This podcast will have already been up. It's already up there, so check me out at the Woo Woo Podcast on Spotify. I'll post the link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.